for things that you needed? Do you feel more comfortable in crisis to just... Do you feel more comfortable to just be, when you're in crisis, to just be upset, frustrated? Do you feel more comfortable that way, or do you, when you're in that crisis, that time you say, I need to go to the Lord in prayer. I need to get a hold of God. I need to put Jeremiah 33, verse 3 into application. Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not. How real is God to you? Well, the reason why we're in Psalm 36, and it won't be long, but I just want to bring you to this psalm in these few verses here this morning, because David was in the same place. And he mentions, and I didn't read you the whole psalm, you could do that at home or later on or wherever, but in this psalm, he shows us, in fact, he gives us a number of his personal thoughts concerning how real God was to him. Did you get that? To David himself, God was really real. How real is God to you? How real is your salvation? How real is your trust? How real is God to you? Well, God was so real to David. Number one, God was David's safety. Look at verse 7. Number one, God was David's safety. He says, how excellent is thy loving kindness, O God. Therefore the children of men put their trust under the shadow of thy wings. Under the shadow of thy wings. He says, David says, God is my protector. I am just privileged to trust in the shadow of His wings. In fact, I'm so privileged I can just trust in the shadow of His presence. I know God is there. I know that even though that I'm getting chased after, I know that my son Absalom wants me dead. I know that I've got some family problems. I know that my life probably is not where it's supposed to be. But what I do know, and what I do take comfort in, is that I'm in the shadow of God's presence. He's my safety. He's my protector. Do you feel safe today? We replaced a door on our house, and it had a tarp up for a while. It's kind of hard to lock that tarp. We did our best, put the string up. Sure, it kept the honest people out. But we went to bed. It was no problem. We weren't very afraid. And it's not really because we live in a little village. I think it's because of Psalm 4, verse 8. Psalmist says, I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me to dwell in safety. I don't care how many locks you have on your house, or that you don't have on your house. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. There used to be a time, I sleep on one side of the bed, obviously, and Michelle's on the other side, but I sleep on one side so I can see the door, so I could see what's coming in, so that I know if somebody's coming in, I can point over this way. There she is, there she is. No. Yeah. Well, it's not good for my kids that I sleep that way, because when they were younger, they'd come in like, Daddy, I'm not feeling well. And, I'm just waking up, and they're wearing this blanket. So there's no like form. It's just kind of like a head with a poop. So I get up, and my first reaction is to kick or to, swing or something. And they just laugh and crack up about that. But we can get going on that, okay? But our true safety, our true security, our true protection is only found in the Lord. No matter what part of where you sleep at, no matter what part of the bed you sleep at, no matter what you do to be the physical protection of your home, gentlemen, men, we have to understand that our true safety, protection, and security comes from God Himself. David rejoiced in the fact that he knew that who God was. In His presence, He was my protector. What are you afraid of? think about that for a second. What are you afraid of? And what you're thinking of now, you maybe say, I'm not afraid of nothing. There's something out there make you afraid. But that something, is that greater than God? If it's not greater than God, then why are you afraid? Because we're placing more faith in our fears than we are in our friend, Savior, Lord, Protector. Someone once said this: it is not our trust that keeps us, but the God in whom we trust who keeps us. I think we can apply that to today in this financial crisis that this country's in. You may not be afraid of those things that go bump in the night. You may say, bring it on. I'm looking forward to just beating some heads. If you come to my house, you'll meet Smith and Wesson. But what about this financial crisis that we're facing here in this country? What about this upcoming election? I've talked to a lot of people who are very afraid. I remember when Bill Clinton was elected. I thought the world was coming to an end. I thought the heavens were going to split open and God was going to call us home in the rapture. That was it. I didn't particularly think he was Antichrist, but I thought he's pretty close. And you know what? It wasn't. Actually, God protected us. God protected us through it all. Are you afraid what the outcome will be at this upcoming election? Listen, the IRS says we're not allowed to endorse any candidate as a church. Right in front of the camera, I think they're both losers. How about that? That's all we got. But that's not all we got. We got our protector. So what are you afraid of? Afraid of the financial crisis? You afraid that the Dow's going to drop another 1,000 points? I think it's really incredible to see. You know, we can tell our grandchildren, if the Lord tarries, that we were around when the Dow was dropping like tons. 700 points a day. It's just amazing. As long as you don't have to sell, you're doing okay still. Right? Financial advisor over here. Yeah, as long as you don't have to sell, you're doing okay. I don't think every company in the United States of America will go belly up. That's just me. Maybe GM will get together with Chrysler and make Jim Chrysler, or whatever they're called. You know, Chrysler Goom. Yeah, something like that. But why are we fearing? David had some serious fears in his life. But he says again, how excellent is thy loving kindness, O God. Therefore the children of men put their trust under the shadow of thy wings. He says, no matter what's going on around us, if I can just place my trust, my faith in your presence, in the shadow of your wings, I'm good to go. Are you abiding under the shadow of his wings? How real is God to you today? You're always going to have some fear out there. But let your faith replace your fear. And let your faith be placed in the one who's greater than all your fears. Number one, God was David's safety. Number two, how real was God to David? God was David's satisfaction. Look at verse 8. They shall be abundantly satisfied with the fatness of thy house, and thou shalt make them drink of the river of thy pleasures. The fatness, the plentifulness of his house. David knew God as his satisfaction. Let me ask you this. How satisfied are you today? How satisfied are you with your job? How satisfied are you today with your home life? How satisfied are you today with your church life? And I'm not talking, when you come to church, when you go home, how satisfied are you with your finances? How satisfied are you with your relationship with God? David found great and I believe total satisfaction. He calls it, in fact, he calls it abundant satisfaction.